Thing.
Hello everyone. I think we're live. So I don't know how many watchers we have currently. Um, we have 4 watchers. I'm informed. So yeah, welcome here in Momentum. My name is Pim. I'm first year here at URE, and I'm currently a part timer for Chassis. And this is Lars.
I'm Lars. This year I'm the mechanical manager of URE. So I'm the head of BIM here, over here. But today I'm his guest in this nice talk show. So.
Yes. So if you have any questions, please ask them in the chat. So we will try to answer them as quickly as possible and as good as possible. But meanwhile, yeah, we can maybe talk a bit about URE. So yeah, first of all, Lars, what was your experience when joining URE? What did you learn in the first year? How did it go?
Well, in my first year I was responsible for the pedal box. So yeah, it's actually the input you get from the driver with his feet to the pedals. I was like responsible for like a locking mechanism that needed to be made because yeah, in the competition you need something that it is always secured, that some things are locked in place. They call it positive locking, and it was not really rule compliant with our pedal box. So yeah, that was my task for that year, and there were also some small issues with the pedal box, which I also fixed that year. So that was my first year task at the team. And yeah, what I learned is I learned yeah, actually all the whole design cycle, also to actually work within a group of people. And also, yeah, you start with concepting, of course. After that, you start with, yeah, looking at all your concepts. And you're like, yeah, this is something we want to pursue. And then you're going into the design phase. And the funny part is in the design phase, I learned also actually some things I ended up learning later in my studies. So I already learned it here at URE, so that was actually pretty fun. And also, yeah, it gave me a boost in my studies, so that was pretty okay.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, and if you have a bit of trouble maybe imagining how the design cycle works, you might have done an OGO in university or
oh,
DBL. I think from my experience it's pretty similar. So the only real difference is that here you work on a part for a whole year and you actually build it because yeah that was due to Corona a lot of projects were fully online and then you don't get to build stuff which yeah I can do here and then you also learn stuff like yeah, if you build something in a Nix or in another CAD program, then it's fine. But we have a famous saying here that it did fit in a Nix, but then eventually, yeah,
it didn't
you
fit
should
in
learn,
reality.
yeah, just
Yeah,
practical
yeah.
stuff of actually developing parts in a bigger thing like a car over here.
Yeah, that's also I think the thing with URE is like you learn a lot of practical things. You learn, yeah, you're busy with like the design and things like that, and you also are going to realize that. I think that's where the university really stops. It's actually the realizing part is not really there. I felt that in my OGOs because here you also need to make some production drawings, uh, and yeah, you actually have to consider also with like the partners, also your VFR partner at university EPC, which produced the part for us. You really have to talk with them like, yeah, is this even possible to make for you? Because you're gonna have like an amazing idea, like, oh, I want to make this, but it should also be producible. And also with like a lot of input from older members here who have done boards here before, and alumni group we have, they also have a lot of input, like what is practical and what not. And yeah, that's actually something I learned here, and
Yeah,
I really like that.
and I think that's also where this team is really strong because we're a very big team. We have like something of like 30 active members, I believe, and a lot more
A lot more.
alumni and ex-members. Which yeah, there's just a lot of knowledge here. So when you come here as a first year URE member, you might not, yeah, you might be in your first or second year at university, so you might not have learned a lot from that. But yeah, you really get guided through the process and you can ask a lot of questions. It's really open environment, so if you ask a question, you always get an answer. Everyone's willing to help. So then eventually you still make your own part. You're still responsible for making your own part, but you're not alone in doing it. So you yeah
And,
you
and,
really
and
learn.
how did you experience your first year? Also, like within the team, and like how it is just structurally in the team.
Yeah.
I
So
think it was a bit different now with Corona. Like team building is other than normal, but maybe you can say something about how you experience it as a new member.
yeah, we have a question I see.
Yeah, we have two questions.
Oh,
The first one, which software do you use for CFD?
for CFD, currently I guess we're using OpenPhone. Yeah. We did use some other programs in the past, but right now we're using OpenPhone. And normally when you're around here in the workshop, you always hear like a computer that is doing a lot of calculations about the CFD. It's like all the time, but for the stream and yeah, you're hearing me put it off for now, but it will go back on when we're done because then the CFD guys from the aerodynamic department can also continue with that.
The second question is, how do you guys select your transmission ratio?
Oh, that's actually a pretty fun thing. Yeah, it also depends on what you're doing with your electrical machines. Of course, you have like your torque output and your yeah, RPM. So that's something you need to decide what you want to do with your electrical machines. And then you are also like in your concept, you have like, all right, then what torque output do we want on our motors and what top speed do we want to reach? And then we're yeah, actually it's like a sort of combination between your electrical motors and your transmission ratio, and then actually what you want to achieve in your concept. And yeah, it's just a bit concepting, like it's not really just yeah we're gonna use that. It's just like yeah, there's a lot of stuff that comes when we're doing that.
Then yeah, I think that also shows a bit of the process in URE. So yeah, if someone's working on a part, then you really make a lot of concepts. You think about cool stuff, cool solutions to a part that you have, and then yeah, you just start making pros and cons lists of that part, and you discuss it with yeah, for example, your manager, which last is my manager, or with other members of the teams, alumni. Then eventually you come to a conclusion that this part is the best one, and you start working on that one. So yeah, maybe a bit to continue on the question Lars asked me before this question came. So my experience with this first year in the team, of course, yeah, it's a bit different now due to Corona. So yeah, I haven't really seen everyone from the team, but yeah, they're still actively trying to involve everyone. So every Thursday or Tuesday night there's a Euro evening, which is an evening in which an update is given about last week and what's happening inside the team. So there you can see most members and also the board members. Afterwards, they often organize fun activities. So last night we had the Cluaridos, as we called it. So our version of Cluedo, and yeah, it was really fun. Just yeah, seeing some people online, and also you get to come here to the workshop. There are always people working on the car or things happening, and you get to meet some people. So yeah, they're really actively trying to involve everyone. Which yeah, I think it's a really nice environment for someone new to come into.
Yeah, yeah, well, actually the car is away today.
Yes, so
Because it's to a test day. Maybe you can show a video about some how a test day looks at URE. Because yeah, what we do is of course we can not really go testing here. We have a parking lot outside the building here, but yeah, what we can do we have like some test runs, but not at high speeds. And of course you want to test the whole system at all the speeds you want. So what we do is we pack our stuff. We go with a trailer to some external locations. Today we're going to Lommel, so we're going testing there. And yeah, in the video you can see a bit like we have a track that we lay out with some cones, and yeah, depending on what we want to test that day, we have a full testing plan. Um, and yeah, you can see the car driving around.
Check of
So that's
yeah.
really
of de
nice.
wielen kunnen
Yeah, so
draaien,
this
of
is
het
actually
stuur goed beweegt en natuurlijk of dat de rem werkt.
autonomous
begrepen
system
dat jullie-
testing day, in which they showed some parts of how the car works. So you can actually see our autonomous manager. Yeah, he's explaining some stuff.
Yeah, he's explaining what we do actually with driverless, because that's also a thing we started doing. I think in the URE 13 year, that's already I think 3 years ago. We made like a start with that, and then the URE 14 year, which is actually this car over here, we actually started also to implement it in the car, and you can actually see it right now also in D mode, as we call it. We have our car in electric mode and in driverless mode. So what we actually do is we have a front wing and a rear wing. You can actually see it also on the picture there. It's in electric mode. So yeah, when we go to driverless mode, we get the rear wing from the car, and we place an aluminium casing on the back of the car with the driverless ECU, which we actually call the backpack. And on the front, we remove the front wing, and we place the lidar sensors on there, so we can actually percept the track. Furthermore, we also need the brake in driverless mode, so we have an EBS that can actually automatically implement brakes. You can see it here. It's a bit. It's actually an enormous thing in the URE 14, and we already made some nice steps to a much more compact design in the URE 15. And last but not least, we also need to steer with the driverless car. So we have a steering actuator in the car. It's actually attached to the steering column, so you can't really see it from outside the car. And also when we have a desired steering angle, we also can realize that with our actuators. Did you see the car driving in driverless mode once, or not?
Yeah, I haven't seen the car driving driverless yet, but I have seen it driving around the parking lot. Because if you come here and they're doing some test runs, then which happens regularly, then yeah, you can see the car driving. And if you've already made your part, you can see your part driving around, which is really nice. Is that a question or no? Okay. But yeah, you already indirectly also explained something else, which is I think also really cool about the team, is that we actually build a new car every year. So yeah, you can see the cars from the 13 and the 14, which they might look similar, but they're actually two completely different cars. So all the parts get looked at every year. Yeah, not all the parts, but a lot of parts, and parts that need to be improved. So for example, in this car, the EBS is quite bulky. It's functional, but it can be lighter and easier to maintain. So then for this year, we actually have a lot smaller EBS, which also functions differently. So this one is hydraulic, and we currently have a one working on air, which gives a lot of advantages over this year. So yeah, you can see that that it gets iterated every time. So while you might, your part that you work on might already exist on the car from previous year, you can take inspiration from that and then build your own version of that. You have a question, I see.
Yes. Which composite materials do you use for manufacturing the wings?
The wings. In the mix, we usually use Textream, and then also aramide core material. Also in the front wing we use some unidirectional carbon fiber, and also I think in some wings we what we call it is 200 grams. We use that in some part of the wings. But the most wings are actually built from Textream.
So yeah, you can. This is a small part of a wing, in which you can see that there's a layer of carbon, which in this case is Textream, I believe, or yes. So, and then here in the middle there's a layer of core material, which is kind of a honeycomb material, which is really strong in like the Y direction, and very light in all other directions. And then you get another layer of carbon to finish it up, and then you can make nice wing structures like this. which is very strong and very light.
Yeah, that's also the advantage of carbon fiber is that it's very lightweight material, but you also get a very high stiffness and high strength out of it. So yeah, you can also see that we use it for our monocoque. Our whole monocoque structure is actually made of carbon fiber, and our whole aerodynamic package, just to make our car as light as possible, so we can actually also go faster on track.
That's something which we mostly do ourselves. So if you come here to Momentum to work on the car, you also get to actually build wings from carbon fiber, which you don't usually do at home, I think. I believe we also have a video showcasing a bit of the like the monocoque production, and also some other things about the team.
Yeah, in the video you can actually see, I think, the preparation of because that's also a big thing, because we produce it ourselves in every step of the production process. So also preparing the molds. So a lot of sanding the molds, which maybe Pim can tell was a really nice step to. But after that, it's actually also laminating the whole chassis. We do ourselves. We also because we make it out of two halves. We have an upper and a bottom mold. So we laminate that apart from one another. Then we cure it. A partner of ours actually 3 times. And when that is done, we actually have 2 parts, and we have to place them on top of each other, and they also make fitted on top of each other. And that's also something we do ourselves. So there actually are a lot of stuff we also try to do ourselves. Of course, you can't do everything yourself, like making a part like this, the upright. It's you really need a milling machine for that, otherwise it's not gonna work. But we design the part ourselves, we actually try to do as much as we can. And I think that's also what I really like about URE is that there is so much you can do within the team. Actually, you can design, and then you can also help building the car. You can actually help realizing it, and you can actually also do that every year, because every year we build a new race car.
Yeah.
So that's pretty fun also to do.
Of course, next to building a car, there are also other things which you can do in the team. So we have a whole non-tech departments, which are also required for the competition, in which you also get to do a lot of interesting stuff. So, for example, we need to make a whole bill of material from the car, in which you list all the parts and explain if they are produced or made or bought, and how much they actually cost. Which gives you a big insight in how the whole car works. Which we also have departments which focus on that, and also like a business department which focuses on making a business plan for our team. And we also have like a operations department which focuses on a lot of other things, like making the website work, making t-shirts, organizing activities, all that kind of stuff, which is also a lot of fun to do. So next to only engineering a car and building parts, you can also do some other things which you can't learn on the university itself, because that's not their focus.
Yeah. And you can also decide, like, for maybe you are interested in designing a part, but also doing something with partners and stuff like that. So you can also decide, like, maybe in 1 year you are actually designing a part and doing something for operations, or you say, like, this year I'm gonna design something for the car, and the year after that I'm gonna do something in the operations department, and I'm gonna be like on the social media and stuff like that. It's really flexible here. It's also really nice. It's just if you really want it, there's always a way around for us. So it's really nice.
Yeah, or you can always do a full-time year, which is also a lot of fun, I think. But,
I can actually maybe tell something about that, because this year I'm doing a full-time year as a board member. It's as Pim already said, and I'm his manager, so I have three departments beneath myself. I have the drivetrain and the cooling department, but they're actually I take them together, and then also the chassis department. and I'm also responsible for all the mechanical parts of the driverless department. So for example, the EBS and steering actuator, that is are some stuff. We're actually not redesigning them this year, but all the stuff that mechanically need to be done for that this year is my responsibility.
So for example, also the uprights.
This year we also have a new project here. Like Chris was pointing, I was like, I thought there was someone in the room here, but maybe I can tell something more about my board here, and then we can talk about also some cool stuff we design over here. But so those are the 3 departments I do. And furthermore, I'm also responsible for the car. So everything mechanically. Also, before we go to the test day, we need to make sure the car is ready to actually go to the test day on, like, mechanically, but also electrically. Electrically is not really my thing, but mechanically I can make sure that the car is ready to go driving. And then also, a lot of also planning. We actually are this year making new in-wheel design for our car. So I'll also have, like, every week we have a meeting with the department, and we are like keeping up the progress, like how are things going, is everything on schedule, and if not, like what do we need to do about that. That is when designing the part actually, and you also have to produce the part, so you also have to get in contact with your partner. So can you produce this for us? Is it possible to deliver it till that time? And is it actually also possible to make this for us, for example? So that's also something you do at a full-time year. And you're mostly here all day. Now with Corona, we actually try to sometimes work a bit from home. But when in a normal year you are actually here every day, just working here at your desk. The board has the boardroom here. Everybody has a desk which you can work from, and it's also a lot of fun stuff. You also have like a fun time with your board members, your fellow board members, and of course also with the team, because also we have a really nice team. There's a lot of team building within the team, and it's also really nice to make some talk with some people over here.
Yeah. So also about the competition, because eventually you build a car, but you also need to drive it. So maybe you can tell a bit about that, how that works.
Yeah, so that is actually why we built the car. That's also a good thing indeed. So we actually built the car for our main purpose is to go to the competitions, which are in the summer vacation. Then there's the race season, and what we actually do is we try to go to 3 races each year. This year we are actually going still to 2 races physically, and 1 is online because they cancelled the activity on site there. But that's actually what we do it all for, and that's also where the whole rule book comes from. Like, you have to, your car needs to be equivalent with the rules, otherwise you won't pass what they call in the competition the scrutineering. And the scrutineering is actually where they check your car if it's compliant with the rules, and also if it's safe enough to drive around with the car. Because for example, we have an electrical system that runs on 400 volt, so it actually needs to be safe to drive around with the car, because otherwise you can damage yourself pretty good. So that's actually what we do with the car on the competition. Then we also drive, of course, with the car. We have some dynamic events where we do some acceleration runs, do a skid pad, which we actually then drive in figure 8. And we also have a autocross, on which we drive just 1 lap as fast as possible. And you can actually see that as a sort of qualification, because the teams that do that as fast as they can, they also get in order that they finish the autocross, that they also go to the endurance, and the endurance is actually driving around for more laps, and to see if the car doesn't fail during that. And we also have a driver change in between that of 3 minutes, and then you have to the car needs to stand still for 3 minutes, and after that it needs to drive further. So that's actually what we do on the competition dynamically. but we also have some static events, and actually the static events are something with the cost of the car, the business, we do a business presentation, and also actually a very big thing is the engineering design. And at the engineering design event, you have to actually explain everything about why you designed the car in the way you did. Um, so yeah, you can get questions like why did you choose for the suspension you are driving with on your car, or why are you running on 400 volt, stuff like that. And you really need to explain why you made those choices. And if you really can explain that well, you also get more points, and you can actually also yeah, win the competition, of course, with that, because it's actually also a very big part of the competition. I myself have attended two competitions, one driverless competition and one electric competition. That was also both in the URE 14 year, because sadly last year the competitions were all cancelled. And what I also really liked about the competition is actually the team spirit, and all the teams coming together, and everything. Everyone is really nice to talk everything about their car. It's not, yeah, you there is some rivalry of course, but it's also like very nice to talk to the people over there. So yeah.
Yeah, I think that's in general just the whole vibe which you get in this team, but also in the Formula Student itself. It's just a bunch of students making a fast race car. In the end, it's always, yeah, the goal is of course the competition, but it's also just having fun, learning stuff, developing yourself, which, yeah, it just creates a really nice thing to do outside of your studies. Meanwhile, yeah, if you have any questions, you can ask them in the chat if you just joined them. And if you are interested in joining the team, you can go to universityracing-eindhoven.nl, click on the Join URE button, and yes, then you can sign up, and we will contact you. Which, yeah, this is also maybe a bit about the application process itself. So yeah, if you are if you do sign up in the team via our website, I or someone else will send you an email to get to know you, maybe give you a tour of the workshop which we are in now, and then yeah, we can see what you can yeah, what we can use you for, and in which department we can use you, and then yeah, hopefully yeah, we can see you again next year in the team, and also these nice t-shirts.
Yeah, your photo is coming pretty soon.
Yes, so that's something which the operation department is working on currently, fixing us some new new photos.
Well, maybe we can then also tell a bit more about like the awesome projects we also do here, because yeah, we already told a bit about carbon fiber. It's not yeah, that you get in daily contact with something like carbon fiber, and that you're just at home laminating some stuff, you know. But we also have some other cool things we do around here. Of course, we make our big part of our electric powertrain. We design ourselves. We also go to a partner of ours to actually help with assembling the motors, the electrical machines, and also with the inverter in our car. And so there's also some nice things, and also some really nice things. I think myself is of course something we're actually doing this year, and this is redesigning our in-wheel design. And a step we're also taking in that is, yeah, we are actually printing some parts right now from titanium. Yeah, this is actually, you can see
You can show it a bit closer to the
I
camera.
can show it a bit closer to you. I'll also take this one. So what this actually is this is yeah, an upright. So within this, the whole in-wheel assembly comes. So some gears are going to rotate in this nice titanium. You can see it as a casing maybe. But yeah, what we do so with our partner Additive Industries, we actually designed these, and they printed these for us. And what we actually want to achieve with this is that we get more stiffness and also a more lightweight design. This is the design we actually made for the URE 14 suspension setup. You can actually maybe see the difference between the points to which we attach it. So what we actually want to do with this one is we still want to test this at a partner of ours to see, yeah, to actually verify the load cases we have on our suspension and also the stresses in the material and if it's gonna fail or not, as we expect. And also for this year, this actually arrived today, so this is a really nice sneak peek of our new uprights that is actually going to be on the car, because the ones I showed there are not be placed on the car. They were more a proof of concept, but for now we're actually gonna work with these. So yeah, this is actually, they're just being printed and post-processed. So now they actually need to have some yeah, further post-processing at the milling machine here at our partner EPC. And after that, yeah, they're actually ready for the assembly for our new in-wheel design. Yeah, that is actually, I think, something you don't really come across in your studies, like designing parts such like these and also such complex structures, and actually having contact with a partner like Additive Industries on designing yeah, how you actually need to design such a part, and what are the advantages and disadvantages of printing such a part, yeah, what do you need to take into account if you want to make such a part. So that's, yeah, those are all nice things you really can get to learn here and get to, yeah, play around with a bit. And actually, yeah, when they are also going to be placed on the car, and that's also really nice to see when it finally happens.
Yeah, exactly. So you might maybe learn a bit about 3D printing, metals and that kind of stuff, but yeah, usually you don't actually do it. Which, yeah, you get the freedom to experience that and to kind of, yeah, test with that and develop your skills also there. And then, yeah, eventually it looks like nice on LinkedIn. When you apply, when you're going to work, you can say, yeah, I already did this and I already worked with inside of a team and built such a complex race car. Yeah, so maybe also a fun question to you. What do you think is the nicest part on the car, the funnest part?
The funnest part.
Yes.
Ooh. What I really like about the driverless car is the, yeah, whole pneumatic system. I really like how it behaves dynamically and how also the ABS works. I think that's a really nice part. And yeah, of course the uprights.
Yeah.
I mean, like the shape of it looks really cool. And you can also save some weight with it and actually get some more stiffness. Yeah, for actually the same part. So that's I think that's really nice. And also like a really nice thing is yeah, the monocoque. It's, yeah, we sometimes in the team call it just a big bracket, because yeah, you need to attach all those parts on the monocoque. But just how it all functions and all the laminating, all the work that goes into it, it's really nice to see, to just see it standing then here. Yeah.
Yeah.
And what do you think is?
Well, yeah, I guess
That's
the pneumatic EBS is really when you press the emergency stop button and you hear and the brake pedal gets pressed. That's just, yeah. As a mechanical engineer, I can appreciate that. Yeah, and I guess that's also just part of the team that you that such systems exist and you can see them working, but also that stuff which you might not really know a lot about. For example, this is an electric car, so yeah, in my study you don't really learn electrical engineering stuff and how that all works. But yeah, of course, because it's an electric car, you eventually do experience. Yeah, you do need to work with that, and yeah, I think that's also really nice. So for example, I'm currently building a new steering wheel for the car, and yeah, it's mechanically just, yeah, a steering wheel, but also electrically there are buttons on there, there's a screen on there, you need to get the information to the screen, that kind of stuff. Which, yeah, it's a challenge to make, but that's also something which you help with, and you can also get some more experience with that, which I think it's really nice.
Yeah, I think that's also something you see when you are working within the team is that you have actually some parts. Well, all parts are like connected to other parts of the car, but some parts are just connected mechanically to one another, and it's just one mechanical assembly. And then, as a mechanical engineer, you can really get into everything of that design. You can it's much easier if you have like a design that is mechanical and there is also like an electrical part in it, because then you really have to also talk with all the people from the electrical department, like how is this even possible, or yeah, how would you like to have this design if we want to implement this. And like as a mechanical engineer you can imagine that for like other mechanical parts, but for an electrical part that's much more different. And yeah, you also learn it to like cooperate with other people in the team then to actually make the best out of the car.
Maybe we can then explain a bit about how the car works. So how do we go from standing still to driving?
You mean like the startup procedure, or?
Yeah, or just like we have a battery and there's some energy in that. How do we eventually get the car driving? How does that?
Yeah, we have like the high voltage battery is in the back of the car. So that is actually the yeah, what we use to power our electrical machines, and those are placed actually on the uprights, so they're in the rims of the car, in the in-wheel assembly, so they are directly onto the wheels. So that's actually what we use the high voltage for. Then we also have the low voltage, and that's just behind the back of the driver. It's separated by a firewall, and that is used actually to power all the steering wheel on the car. Actually, also the inverter is powered like that, because before the current goes from the high voltage battery to the electrical machines, it first gets through the inverter, and there the current gets from DC to AC, and yeah, then it goes to the motors. So yeah, and then also when you press the pedal, there's like a whole control model like that says like, oh, all right, the pedal is like pressed in like for 50%, then the electrical machines need to spin, at this RPM and with this torque. Um, so yeah, you also have like the whole control system in your car, and that's also something really nice about this car actually. And when you're also with your four-wheel drive, on each wheel we have a motor. What you can achieve with it is that you can also make use of torque factoring. So when you have you want to steer to the left, you have a desired yaw rate, and with the control model we can actually say like, oh, we're now steering to the left, so we want more torque on our right motors, so we can actually go faster to the turn. And also we use some traction control to have more traction on the track when you drive away. So those are like all the controls we have in the car. Um, and yeah, when you take all that together, you get from a standing still car to a driving car, of course.
I think that also shows like all the interactions within the team. So if one department decides to do something different, then all the departments need to work together to do that. So for example, we're now looking into the concepts for next year, and then the powertrain department wants to do something massively different. So we're trying to change the voltage of the battery, for example, and also change the shape of the battery. So then the aerodynamics department gives some input like, oh, we want like a bit thinner car at the back. Then the chassis department needs to actually build a thinner car, and then the powertrain needs to build some like place their parts somewhere differently. So that it really shows like that this is a car which is developed by the whole team. So I think that's that's really nice.
Yeah, and what's also really nice is I think about our concept is that we are a convertible car. So yeah, we are focusing on electric, but also on driverless. And maybe we can also tell a bit more about the driverless systems in our car. We also went a bit over it, like all the hardware we have in the car and all the actuators, but also like how the autonomous system works. So we have our, as I already said, our LiDAR sensors are at the front of the car, and they actually detect the cones, and then it goes to an algorithm that actually makes a map of the track. We use a SLAM algorithm for that, and with that map, we actually decide like we get just a map of all the cones. We don't really know what the track is just yet then. And in that part we use track detection. So it sees like, oh, we have cones over here, but what is then the right track that we need to drive through these cones. And when we have that, we go further to the motion planning. So from the track detection, you have like the track, and you also are like, alright, if I want to follow this track, I need to go this fast and I need this steering angle. So you have like a desired velocity and a desired steering angle, and that's actually what motion planning does. So it gets the track and it calculates the desired steering angle and desired velocity, and then that is sent to the actuators, and the actuators then have like also some controllers that say like, all right, this is my velocity right now, this is the velocity I want, some feedback, but we also have some feed forward for that. So you also see like, that's also some, I think some really nice thing about the driverless department. It is like, you really have like a lot of software in the car, like percepting the track, making a map out of it. It is really more in the software side, but you also have, you need to control the car, so you also need some people who are like working on the controls of that. So controlling the steering actuators, and also like the motion planning is also like a lot of control. You can also see like that we also do some parts in Simulink and also some parts in C code.
Yeah. And I do believe that a lot of the software encoding is actually done by yourself. So then that's also something which is really nice, that we actually developed our own self-driving car. So when you actually see it driving around, it's pretty impressive. And also when you next to that see all the data which the car gets, it's
Actually, our whole autonomous system, the framework on which the autonomous system runs, we designed that, we make that code fully ourselves within the team. So I think that's also a really nice thing about URE, is that we try to make as much things as possible from ourselves, and that's also where you can really learn the most, I think, by just doing it.
yeah. And next to that, we are also of course just a nice team, and we also need to drive the car itself, which is also something nice. So perhaps you can explain the process of picking our own driver, which is actually going to drive the car.
Yeah, that's also a fun thing indeed. We also like to make some team building activity out of that, of course, because you of course you need a good driver on the competition, because like a lot of points you can actually also score with the endurance. You just need a good driver to drive the endurance. Um, but we also are a team, well, roughly 50 people, and we also like to have some fun, of course. So what we actually do is we take the whole team to a karting track, and we do a nice karting challenge, also just for fun. And then at the end of the day, we are looking through the results, and we see, oh, like, oh, those people had some really nice times on track, also really consistent times on track. And then we are also looking like, oh, how are they performing in the car? So from the karting challenge, some people are selected like, oh, they perform pretty okay. So we place them in the car and see, are they still driving that good, and can they really set some really good times on track? What we need to drive in the competition, and also we start training them with these people. And I think myself that's also something really nice that we have in the team, is that you also have a chance to drive in the car yourself on the competition. You have to be a pretty okay driver, of course. I myself am not that good, but I like that there is the opportunity. Maybe one day I will be fast. You never know. But of course, yeah, you're building a whole year on such a car. And as a team, we also want to really thank our team members for all the work they put in. So we also organize a team thank you day on which we let everybody drive in the car. So that's, I think, also really the nice thing. You're working a whole year on a car, and then at the end of the year, you can also actually drive in it and feel how it actually drives. And yeah,
Yeah,
I think
exactly.
that's really nice.
So yeah, if you wanted to make it to Formula One, but that didn't work out, you can always drive a Formula student. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think if you ask really nicely in Formula One if you can drive the car, they say no.
Yeah.
But here you have the opportunity. So
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's also pretty cool.
are you fast on track?
Well, yeah,
Thank you.
we're gonna see in a week's time. So yeah, I hope I'm fast enough to make it to the driving test, but we'll see. So that's also a bit of competition within the team.
Yeah, that's true. And maybe we can also show a video about the garden challenge because we
I
actually.
already did.
Ah,
Oh, you already did. Look at that.
he's one step ahead of us.
Step ahead of us. So yeah, I think. Do you have something more about how the year went for you this year? Like maybe about the team building. Normally we do a team weekend, but we didn't really do that this year.
Yeah. So this year, every Tuesday night there's an URE evening, as I already said, and also some nice activities. So that's yeah, always a lot of fun. So keep your Tuesday evenings free because some nice things are organized. So for example, a few weeks back we had a Minecraft tournament, which someone inside the team has their own server, which we could use. Sometimes we randomly organize some Formula F1 2020 tournaments with some people who have the game. Also just other nice activities in which you just hang out with the team, grab a beer at home, and talk with each other.
Yeah.
So I think
Yeah, and we also have like our Ik Banner slots, of course, and we call it an Ik Banner slot, in which you have to come to Momentum for 4 hours, and that is then every week. We expect that to of every part timer that he actually comes every week to Momentum, yeah, 4 hours to actually help with producing the car, and actually working on some things that need to be produced. But yeah, then you also like speak some other people from the team. I think that's also really nice just to get along with some other people from the team and talk with them. And also about their assignment, like what are they actually doing with the car.
yeah, exactly. And that's also part of the time which you just spend at your read. So normally there's 15 hours which you need to spend around your read each week. So a few hours is automatically filled in. So for example, the Tuesday evening and also the department meeting which you have every week, which you just give an update about how your progress is going, and everyone else does it. You get to give an input into other people from your department. And then also, yeah, around 4 hours a week you're here at Momentum, just working on the car, working on your assignments, hanging around here at Momentum, and then the rest of the time you can spend at home working on your assignment, or here working on your assignment if Corona it goes away.
Yeah, because yeah, we also well back we also had some nice events. That's also some things we do. Of course, this year we don't have that much of events that we did, but of course, when there's no corona, you also have like a lot of events that you go to with partners. Also, like a nice tour around their company or something like that, or maybe some also had some barbecues with some partners. So that's also some events we do. But this year, actually, that was a few weeks back. We also had a nice event on King's Day, where we actually drove with the car in the mobility caravan. Yeah, that was actually at the beginning of the day, when the king was driving in his mini DAF. We were also driving in the back there at the caravan with him. So that was actually yeah, pretty nice to do. And yeah, actually we also did that with the URE 15, our new car. That's actually also some really nice things to do, to just go to these events and actually yeah, set them up and yeah, go there, prepare the car, make some nice footage, and yeah, just also see the king driving around in his dog. That's also a really nice thing. I think not you don't really see that daily.
I think that also shows like kind of the appreciation from Eindhoven which this team gets. So only a select number of cars were allowed to drive in it, and yeah, we were also allowed to do it. And I think that's also partly because we're one of the, if not the biggest student team here in Eindhoven, which yeah, it has a lot of advantages. So you can get a lot of help within the team, you can meet a lot of new people, and also expand your network. So that's also something which you get to do here. You meet people which you normally wouldn't meet, which you yeah might be useful later on in your career. So for example, partners, or if you go yeah just working inside the team, and you get to meet a lot of people, and also work with a lot of partners, which maybe you can.
Yeah, you work with a lot of partners, but what is also nice is that you also work with some other yeah, student teams. It's also like we're in Momentum, and we're not the only student team here, of course. We're here actually with, yeah, we're up in this building, Virtue also, Ecomotive, Blue Jay, Solar Team. So yeah, you also have like, when you nice here in the lunch, you also speak some other people from the student teams, actually talk with them about how their progress is going with their car or their drone or their building, whatever they're doing. They're also always very happy to tell what they've been doing, and it's also of course a lot of fun with our student teams. What we also normally do when there's no corona is that we organize some inter-team balls, and that's actually that we come together with all the student teams on the university. Yeah, actually, yeah, as much persons from the student teams as possible, of course. And we have a nice yeah, drink with the teams, just chat with them, have some fun. And yeah, that is also something we just do here then in the building. Sadly, right now with Corona, it is a bit less, of course. Um, but yeah, sometimes when you're at lunch, you speak some other student teams, which is also really fun.
Yeah. And also, kind of connecting to that, an important thing to learn when you go to URE is how to play flunkyball. So yeah, that's also just nice. There's like a holy formula student ball game, which yeah, which sometimes gets played after your evenings, or if you're just here with a few people. Of course, now due to Corona, it's not really happening a lot, but I think we're starting to maybe look
We're
into
starting a bit
options.
of, yeah. We're trying to see what is possible.
Yeah.
Is there a question or?
Yeah, there's one question left. What are the main focus points when you start developing a car such as this?
The main focus points?
Yeah.
Well, when we start developing the URE 16, for example, for right now, of course you start with like the big question, and that is like, what do we want with the car? And yeah, what do you want? You want, of course, to win the competition, and yeah, you really want to win the biggest competition that there is here in Europe. That is Formula Student Germany. There are actually a lot of teams coming from all over the world to this competition. It's very internationally. And yeah, that is actually the main focus point. Like, we really want to win that competition. And then you're gonna look like, okay, um, we going to see the results from the past few years. Like, who did win there? What were the times? Also, what do they have for a car? Uh, um, and how do you do that? And then you're just gonna focus like on the concept. Then for new teams, I would say really focus on first getting a good team. Um, Focus on just building a reliable car. Um, yeah, the biggest thing on the competition is that you can get score a lot of points on the endurance. So don't try to make that much complex things, but just make it nice and easy, and make sure it's reliable. Make sure you have a good relation with other team members, and just start with that the first year, and after that just start upgrading your car. That is also what we are doing. We have like our car here, and we're also looking back at the car from last year. So what can we do better? And we also then have like the people from that team. They also have like this and this can be done better, um, and also use their knowledge then. So as a new team, just start focusing on building a reliable car,
Yeah.
and after that just go faster.
I think you can also see that on our website. You can also see the past cars which you built. If you then look at the first car we made, it's a very simple car. I think just a functional car, let's say. And then the focus then was really just getting the car to work, getting something to the competition which can drive the whole competition. So yeah, if you focus on building the fastest car in the world, you're not gonna make it, because then the car gets too complex, parts break during the endurance, you can't maintain the car, that kind of stuff. So I think indeed just building a good team, building a good structure within the team. So how are you going to develop things? What's like the culture within your team, and just focusing on also having fun, and just building a reliable car is, I think, the best way to go. And then you can, in the coming years, you can then try to develop your car into something faster, which might even win competitions.
Yeah.
So yeah, don't try to do it in 1 year. That's the main focus.
But I think that brings us at the end of our live Q&A.
Yeah, I
I
hope.
had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Sure, guest.
Yes, I also had a lot of fun. So I hope we answered your questions. I hope you learned some stuff. I also hope you want to join URE, which is eventually the main goal. So again, if you want to join, go to University Racing Eindhoven. Nu, I fucked it up. Go to you. Fuck. What is it again?
Universityracing.tv.nl.
universityracing.nl/join/URE.
Yes, that one. Maybe we can send it in the chat, because now it gets confusing. Yeah, I hope you learned something. Go join our team, and hopefully we'll see you next year.